Hello and welcome to the Grand Sports Center. It's a new week, a new month, and a new day, and we have a lot lined up for you on today's program. A lot happened over the weekend, and we'll start from the home front where elections were held in Anambra State to elect officials into the Anambra Football Association. As you know, that election has been dogged by controversy in recent times, but then an headway has been found, and an election was held over the weekend with officials emerging. But interestingly, no chairman still, as there are still as four executive members emerged. There are still four positions, including the position of the chairman, that is still yet to be filled. We shall be talking about the Anambra State elections held over the weekend. It was said to have been seamless and went smoothly. Also, Mercedes are celebrating their seventh consecutive Constructors' Championship, talking about Formula One now. They won in the Italian Open at the weekend, and which guaranteed them, despite the season still on, but they are guaranteed to end the season as the Constructors' Champion. This is the seventh time in a row they've won it, and they've surpassed the record set by Ferrari between 1999 and 2005 when Ferrari won 6 consecutive championships. Now, Mercedes-Benz has won 7 consecutive championships, and at the height of it all is Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Lewis Hamilton is still chasing his own 7 consecutive individual title, but that is not yet confirmed until much later in the season, which is still on, like I said earlier. We shall be talking about that also. Also, we shall talk in tennis. Novak Djokovic is somehow almost sure to end the year as the number one, but then he must ensure that he doesn't lose more matches. He suffered a shock loss over the weekend, and which is very not too frequent with him, because I think this is the first time he's suffering a loss from somebody that is not ranked among the top in the top cadre. So, but that actually derailed his quest of becoming of ending the year as number one in the ATP ranking. He's still on course for it, but he needs to ensure that his subsequent few competitions before the end of the year is able to garner enough points to ensure, because he wants to equal Pete Sampras' record of ending the year as number one six times. So he has ended the year on 5 occasions as number one. If he wins this year, we'll make it 6, and then we equal the record set by the great American tennis star Pete Sampras. We shall be talking football. Barcelona is on the brink of bankruptcy. This is very, very strange. I know many people will be surprised. If you talk about one of the big teams in Europe, Barcelona is up there with Real Madrid and likes of Manchester United. But then they're on the brink of bankruptcy. What could have led to this, which I'll be talking about, is plus results over the weekend from the major leagues across Europe, which I'll be talking about them as well. Not forgetting the usuals on the program, Super Eagles Watch, and Today in Sports History. These are more we have for you on the Grand Sports Center today. Don't go away. I am Donald Agbabobo. Before we take a break, let me quickly welcome Austin Arume. Austin, you're welcome. Hope you had a very nice weekend.
I'm so happy to be here.
And Blessing.
Yes, I did have a nice
Basi.
weekend.
And of course, we shall be here together to see you through this program after this short break. Welcome back to the Grand Sports Center, and we'll go straight to the issues of the day. We'll start from Anambra State, where, like I said earlier, elections were held to elect officials into the FA. Talking about Anambra State Football Association. Why is it so interesting for us to talk about a particular state when we're not talking about the Nigerian Football Association now? We're talking about a state FA. It's because of the controversy that dogged the elections held earlier in the year, August precisely. There were some issues that came up over qualifications and over not following the laid down rules and procedures for conduct of elections. But all that has been put aside now. Fresh elections were held on Saturday, and some officials have emerged. Let's start from the position of the chairman. Surprisingly, at the end of the day, no chairman was elected because the sole candidate for the position of chairmanship, former Super Eagles player Chikelu Eluanosi, despite being unopposed, could not get the required amount of vote. As of the 20 delegates, he was only able to get 1 vote, which shows that despite he was sole candidate, he was still not a popular choice.
Yeah.
It is not unprecedented.
If you ask me, I would say, that's intentional, owing to the fact that he was able to get 1 vote, and out of the 20 votes, they said 19 were actually bad votes.
Bad votes,
so
yeah.
It shows something, there's still something that we are not clear about. There's still something underneath that they are not coming out to tell us. So if you look at this critically, why is it happening this way? It shows there's, let's say there's something in the cupboard somewhere which we from the outside cannot actually explain or understand what is going on there. Yeah.
But why allow only a sole candidate when you know that he's not a popular choice? If others were interested, why didn't they indicate their interest? Then you allow him to go solo, then at the end of the day, you still did not get him elected. Is it that other people still have eyes on the position, but for reasons best known to them, they are not coming out? What could actually be happening? Because like Austin said, there may be more happening there that those of us outside don't know.
I think so too. I think there may be more happening too. Things like this, we obviously know there are politics, played around things like this. There might be reasons why they let things like this happen, probably because of what they have in mind, or probably because they wanted him to run for it, or they have other issues with other people.
Would he have forced himself on them? Because if he's coming unopposed and at the end of the day, all you need to do was to endorse him, then he still failed to do that.
I believe a lot of these delegates, I think, I'm just trying to imagine. I'm not them, so I cannot even say at this point what is on their mind. But I believe at this point in time, we have a candidate who is anointed, seemingly, and I feel it has not gone down well with the delegates. If not, how can you have someone who is unopposed, and then at the end of the day, the person is still losing that election? It says a lot about
the elections held in August returned Ifeanyi Ubah as FA chairman, Senator Ifeanyi Ubah.
Yeah.
But he's not contesting anymore. Could his influence still be overbearing? Because if he's not contesting and somebody that is coming as a sole candidate is still not elected, is it that we still not they have still not been able to wriggle out from the ripples of the last elections?
Probably they've still not been able to solve the issues from the last elections. Well, there are reasons behind all these things I really cannot explain though, but whatever had happened for us to be aware of, but I can't really
well, in all of this, there was still some good news, something to celebrate about the elections, as a vice chairman was elected in the person of Victor Aniekwena. He was elected with a landslide victory. And also, we have one of our own veteran broadcast journalist, Ralph Chidote George, who was also elected as an executive member. Then ex-junior international and former Enugu Rangers player Oliver Ndigwe Oliver, one great player in his days, played for the under 17, 2000 and 1997 under 17. He was a very, very good player, but now he's now an administrator, elected into the board of the Anambra State FA. A retired women's referee and administrator, Cordelia Akono, was also elected. So we have proven people in football, a sports journalist, an ex-international, a retired referee, already elected as executive committee members of the Anambra State FA. So at the end of the day, whenever the chairman is elected, and including 4 other board members whose seats are still vacant, so they still have elections for the seat of the chairman and 4 other board members. So whenever that election is held, we now have a complete team that will be ready to steer the ship of Anambra State football to greater heights, so I believe. And also the election was monitored this time by the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF. The issues of the last election held in August was that there was no NFF was not informed. There was a communication problem with the NFF, so there was nobody to monitor the elections. So this time around, they had a legal officer from the NFF in the person of Joshua Onoja. Yeah, so can we say that this election actually had the stamp of authority of the football governing body in Nigeria?
As far as football is concerned, all over the world, we know the stand of FIFA when it comes to football. At this point in time, I am so happy, that this has not actually escalated into something that might around FIFA at the end of the day to give us that ban. And I'm so happy with everybody involved, the sport ministry for not interfering, and also to Ifeanyi as well for also not trying to, even though I believe there's still some unseen hand behind the scene fighting the unopposed guy, but I still want to appreciate everybody involved for not actually pushing it to the edge. And finally, I believe NFF, the sport ministry, they've done what's right, and now I believe NFF are actually happy this time around with the fact that they were there to monitor the elections.
And if Chikolo Iluanosi had been elected chairman, it would have been a very good thing as well for Nigerian football. Ex-international, taking charge of footballers now moving from the pitch to being administrators. We've had Austin Okocha, the chairman of the Delta State FA. Yeah. So Chikolo Iluanosi would have been another ex-international chairman of an of a state football association. This trend, do you think it's a positive thing for Nigerian football? Should we have more ex-players, not just going into coaching, but this time administering the game at the highest level?
Yes, it's a very good thing, especially for Nigeria, because it happened not just in football, in all leagues, both national and international. When it comes to sports generally, it's a good thing. The fact that players, after a while, they tend to join all these technical teams, which is obviously good.
Because they can bring their wealth of experience to bear.
Yes.
They say who wears the shoes knows where it pinches. So maybe with time we'll get to see them also aspire to the highest level, talking about the Nigerian Football Federation. I don't think an ex-international has ever been the chairman of the NFF. We've had politicians and administrators from different field of endeavor coming to administer football. Some of them have not done badly, so, to be frank. But then I think the closest we came was when Sheikh Odegbami veered to be NFF chairman. I actually went for it, but somehow he couldn't get the seat. So we'll wait for that day. We're getting there at the state level. They are taking over, but perhaps one day they'll take over at national level as well. Well, so much about the Anambra State elections. We'll take a short break and we'll come back. We have more for you on the Grand Sports Center. Still on to the Grand Sports Center on the Grand Sport Extra. And next we'll go to Formula One, where celebration for the Mercedes-Benz team. They've won the Constructors' Championship. This is for the 7th consecutive year, which means the last 7 years they will be winners. The Formula One, the Construction Championship is like the league, Formula One league, winners of the Formula One leagues. And so it is like Mercedes-Benz has won the league in the last, I don't know if that is the right way to explain it, but it's like it is the competition for motor racing. And they have series of races over the years, and at the end of the day, you accumulate points. So Mercedes-Benz have accumulated enough points. Despite the season is still on, there are still some races. We still have to go to Abu Dhabi. We still have to go to Bahrain, and I think the US, they've not gone to the US this year. They still have to go to South America, Brazil. So there are still some races coming up. But then, with the number of points they have amassed so far, they're as good as won the champion. Just like Liverpool did, 7 matches to the end of the season last year, they had already won the Premier League. So same thing Mercedes have done. But the remarkable thing about Mercedes is that they've done it in the last 7 years. So this is a very big achievement. They have surpassed the achievement of Ferrari. Ferrari did the same thing between 1999 and 2005 when they won 6 years consecutively. Then they had the great Michael Schumacher as the person, as their driver. So it was expected. But this time, there's another person powering Mercedes championship drive, and it's no other person than Lewis Hamilton. We've been talking about him on this program almost on a daily basis because he's always in the news. If he's not winning one competition, he's doing one other thing. So Lewis Hamilton has been at the forefront of these 7 consecutive victories of Mercedes. And what can we say about Mercedes?
Mercedes.
We can only say congratulations.
I don't know what to say about Mercedes at this point in time. A lot has been said about how fast the Mercedes brand is. And at this point in time, despite the fact that, they opted against not making an upgrade on their car, and it goes a long way to explain why they've not conducted an upgrade on their car. And despite the fact they've not done that, they are still winning. Like we explained the other day, it shows the experience of the drivers, Bottas and Hamilton. If you check, even at what do they call it? This particular event, Italian Open, Italian Grand Prix. So you saw what happened at the point. Hamilton was calculating. He saw that I think he wanted to go into the pits, but he saw that if he should go, that he's going to lose time. So he managed the situation so well up to the point where Bottas and Verstappen, they had to go into the pit. So at this point in time, you see how the experience of the driver come to bear when it comes to the track. So I believe Hamilton is so good at this point in time. Let's just give him the championship already. Because I believe at this point in time, nobody can overtake him.
Austin is already giving championship to Hamilton, but we can understand why. Presently, he leads because it's important we actually explain the difference between the construction championship and the individual championship. Now, the constructor championship goes to the company. Talking about the car brand, the brand. For now, Mercedes-Benz is a brand, but the driver is Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Every brand has 2 drivers. So Mercedes as a brand, as a team, have won the Constructors' Championship. Then it's still possible to win the individual championship. Which driver emerges as the overall champion of the year? So it could still be Hamilton, could still be Valtteri Bottas, it could still be another team. So it's not enough for a team to win the Constructors' Championship. The driver too may still win the championship, individual championship, or another driver from another team. Although it's very rare for a team to win Constructors' Championship and the individual winners don't come from that same team. For this year, the 2 Mercedes drivers, Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, are in the forefront. Lewis Hamilton is leading, and Bottas is second, but Hamilton has 85 points lead over Valtteri Bottas. So we're already saying that Lewis Hamilton is as good as already won the championship itself. So double celebration for Hamilton, individual championship and team championship. So is it possible for Valtteri Bottas to still, even if Valtteri Bottas eventually overtakes Lewis Hamilton, she'll see Mercedes, but with 85 points difference, do you think it's possible given the race is still left? In the next race that is coming up, as long as Lewis Hamilton doesn't lose to Bottas, assuming he comes second and the difference is not more than 7 points, Hamilton would have won the championship. So is it not as good as giving it already to Hamilton, because everything is in his favor?
Yes, everything is in Hamilton's favor. Hamilton has been making the waves with Mercedes, which is a good one, and he's obviously be competing with teammates Bottas. But at the same time, I think Bottas too have an edge because they are always side by side when it comes to who goes ahead and who wins the game at the end of the day. And we know that Hamilton obviously will take the lead, and everyone will expect Hamilton to take the lead. But the good thing is that both teams are for Mercedes. They are actually in charge. Now Mercedes are in charge. Like we talked about Ferrari, their time came and and it's gone. Mercedes are the ones in charge now, which is a good thing, especially for Hamilton, the team, and Bottas too, which is a good one. We're also seeing Red Bull also coming ahead too. Let's see how it goes in the future, how things will possibly change.
So Hamilton himself is also chasing his sixth individual championship. So while the team Mercedes is celebrating 7 consecutive championships, Hamilton is chasing his sixth individual championship. And if he does that, he would have equaled the feat of Michael Schumacher, who achieved that with Ferrari team between that 1999 and 2005. But one interesting thing before we stop talking about this issue of Formula One, Lewis Hamilton is still not contracted to Mercedes beyond next year. His contract ends next year, and they have been talking about, is Mercedes going to renew his contract? Mercedes have won 7 consecutive championships. Hamilton at the forefront. Is it possible that they will allow Hamilton go? Because at this point in time, they've still not talked about the contract, and everybody knows it's ending next year.
I think we heard reports that the president of the Mercedes brand, Toto Wolff, is actually considering, leaving Mercedes as well, and it all boils down to the fact that
Toto Wolff is not leaving. He wants to
move
to a higher position within Mercedes. He said he doesn't want to be involved with the day-to-day running anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants to take up a more executive position where he leaves the day-to-day running somebody else.
So I think it goes to say that when you are at the top, I think you want competition. At this point in time, I don't think it's from the side of Hamilton. Maybe he has not been offered a contract yet. Who knows? But there's one thing that is common. When you are at the very top of it, you want to get new challenge. Maybe Hamilton wants, a new challenge, move to another team. Mercedes has been so dominant. Maybe you can move a less dominant team and make them dominant. Maybe that's what is playing on his mind.
So let's keep our fingers crossed. We'll continue to talk about Lewis Hamilton. We can't stop talking about this guy. He's so good. He's been there. He's actually giving the Formula One brand a very good image out there. And we hope to see him competing at the highest level for years to come. So Mercedes, we say congratulations as they look forward to next year. But like I said earlier, there are still other races to go this year. Formula One season has not ended, so we'll still keep you posted on the results of those Grand Prix as they are held. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll talk more on the program Grande Sports Center. It's to the Grand Sports Center, and next for you is tennis. Lorenzo Sonego, that's his name, he's an Italian. He actually thwarted the ambition of world number one, Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic, if he had seen out this Vienna Open, if he had gone all the way to win it, he would by today have been crowned the world number one for the year. He's not world number one, but his position at the end of the year is still up for grabs. So the race now is, will he end the year as world number one? You know, it's something that most great players look forward to end the year as world number one. Pete Sampras, of the US player, former US American player, did that for 5 years. He ended the year as world number one. That is the highest I think we've had. And Novak Djokovic is chasing that record. He also wants to, if he does it this year, it will be the 5th time he's ending the year as world number one. That's why it's so important to him. But then he suffered a shock loss, a shock defeat at the Vienna Open at the weekend. Lorenzo Sonego, somehow an unknown quantity, because he was like given a pass into the competition. He didn't qualify for the competition, but because somebody else pulled out, he was asked to come and compete. And see what he did in the quarterfinals. He thwarted the match of the world number one, Novak Djokovic. At least his quest for to end the year as number one is been delayed. Not that he can still achieve, but it's been delayed a bit. So what do you make of it all?
I think, as in life, also in sports, sometimes things like this are bound to happen. Upsets. It happens in football. It happens in. There's no sports that you cannot, you don't get to see this kind of thing. So at this point in time, it's just, I would say it's just a matter of time. You know, I don't see Nadal usurping Novak Djokovic at this point in time. It's just the fact that, you know, ending the year for Novak Djokovic at number one has been, you know, delayed a little bit.
So, slight delay. But what's all this hype about ending the year? Is it for the psychological boost, or is it to have that bragging right that I ended the year as number one? What is it? You are number one in January, you are number one in February. What difference does it make from being a number one in December or at the end of the year?
Yeah, still number one is still a number one, unless something drops you down from being that number one position. But that will come with a fight too, you know.
So we're looking at Novak Djokovic, like Austin said, it's a formality. He will definitely end the year as number one. But when will it be confirmed? You know, unless it's confirmed, you cannot actually say he has ended the year. So it is when every parameter has been put in place to see that no other person at this point in time can usurp him. That's when we can now officially say you are world number one. So it's something that will happen, but it has not happened yet. It's been delayed by the ruthless Sonego. Sonego incidentally is ranked below 50 in the world. And just like Austin said, in sports, just like in life, so it is in sports. Every sport has its kind of giant killers. Cadiz beat Real Madrid the other day in football, and see what's happening here in tennis. It's still the Grand Sports Center, and where we'll take a short break and return to talk football. It's still the Grand Sports Center, and moving on, Barcelona, like we said earlier, when we were introducing the program, one of the giants of European football in terms of titles won, in terms of history, and also in terms of financial outlay. And I know that when the rating clubs, top 10 buoyant clubs in the world. Barcelona normally ranks among the top 10. But something interesting is happening in that Catalan club as they're on the brink of bankruptcy. This is something that one wouldn't have imagined a year or two ago before the coronavirus, but it's like the virus issue. One club that it has really hit hard is Barcelona. We know that every club, it was a level playing field in terms of the effect of coronavirus, but Barcelona's own is taking a new dimension as the club is on the verge of bankruptcy. They had done a lot of things before the season started to ensure that they balance their books. The players had to take a pay cut, as much as 70% pay cut, and despite that, the debt level of the clubs, as we can see from reports, has hit $443 million, while revenue is down by 122.5 million pounds. And now, unless they can cut wages by 171 million, the five-time European champions will file for bankruptcy by Thursday.
It's a big one.
This is a big one.
It's a big
Can
one.
you imagine Barcelona going under?
I think I don't imagine them at this point, going under. I know, something will happen somehow, but I don't know how it's going to happen. But it all boils down to, administrative bottleneck. That's just like it is called in the public admin domain. So we also saw how Barca were squandering money on transfers, on
it's called squander.
Yeah, it's called squander because they spent about, I think it's over 70. Yeah, but at times, when you are buying and then you are not getting that value for what you are getting, things like that, are bound to happen. I think, when you consider the fact that just recently, Messi was about to leave as well. So if they know, there was something like this, at times they are football decision. I know Messi is important to them, but there are some important football decisions you have to make at times. The money for Messi would have, gone a long way, in helping the club out of this financial situation right now. Football right now that's gone beyond playing on the field and all that.
Austin, you sell Messi and have your life under threat. Because that's how bad it is in Catalonia. Because Messi stands like a demigod there, and it's easy for us to say sell Messi and balance the books. But this is beyond sale of one player. It's not. You can't get Messi sold for more than 200 million or 250 million. We're talking about debt rising that has hit about 443 million. So it's much more beyond sale of one player. What could have happened? Is it that the fact that they didn't win any championship last year, or they won the league the previous year? Just last year they won the league, but they've not won the Champions League in the last 3 or 4 years, 5 years, so to speak. So could this have been a major issue in depleting the finances of Barcelona?
Well, if you ask me, I think the major issue here is as a result of the pandemic. Although these things happen in football, there are always issues of trying to balance up debts and the rest. But Barcelona really came as a shock, especially for it to make the make rounds. You should know how serious it is with this high level of debts and revenue. It's really too much. Even if you sell Messi, I don't think it will even cover up for all these amounts of debts they have. But the thing is, this issue has been there, but this coronavirus, if you ask me, propounded this whole thing, because even major football clubs too are going through the same issue. Yes,
but they are going through the same issue, but not at the point of bankruptcy. So what could most of these other clubs be doing, the likes of Real Madrid, the likes of Liverpool? We know they are all groaning under the weight of this coronavirus pandemic. But somehow I don't think this is the first big club we have heard it's on the verge of becoming bankrupt. So what could they have been doing in terms of managing themselves that Barcelona are not doing?
Let's
You
talk
talked about squandering money.
Yeah, squandering money.
Yeah.
Just like I said, Messi. Let me not dwell too much on Messi, but the fact is, bulk of Barcelona wage bill, if not up to 50% of Barcelona wage bill, is going to Messi. If you check the other players there, what they collect is nothing compared to what Messi earns. So if they can remove Messi out of that, I'm sure they are removing well over 500,000 every week, which is something that will assist them in cutting that wage bill. Apart from that, brands, companies tend to associate with the winning club. You saw what happened to Liverpool when Liverpool went into obscurity. You saw how
obscurity.
I call it
because they didn't win the championship for 30 years, but they were winning. They won the European Cup, so that's not obscurity.
It got to a point where brands no longer want to associate with Liverpool. I remember they had issue with shirts sponsorship when New Balance had to come in. They had Warriors, but now the performance on the field is now translating into economic gains for them. We saw the deal they signed with Nike recently. So brands don't associate with clubs that are not performing well. If you see Barcelona in recent times, they've not been up to up to the task.
Okay,
up to what we know them to be.
And could that have been in line with your earlier statement about squandering of funds? Could we say they actually have not spent well? They spent big, over 100 million on Ousmane Dembele, over 100 million on Philippe Coutinho, close to that on Antoine Griezmann.
Yeah.
But it has not translated to success on the pitch that will now bring more financial gains. So could this be one issue that may have contributed to it? The pandemic, like you said, played a very big role. But then other clubs were also affected and they are not in this situation. So could Barcelona's own has been worsened by the fact that they spent big and it didn't translate into success on the pitch? And if that is so, who will take the blame? Who should take the blame for this?
I think the club should take the blame because they obviously need to cut down on their spendings, if you need to ask me, because Barcelona is a team that every player would want to play for, judging by the fact that they play good football they play good football, obviously. So they need to cut down on their spendings, and the fact that these players need to, how do you put it, transform into the field of play. They need to, like Austin said, if they don't play, players, sponsors don't want to associate with clubs that don't play good football. So if they don't play well on the pitch, then there's no financial gain at the end of the day.
Yes, indeed. And just continue with our discussion on football. We'll delve into the league now. And looking at the La Liga, it's like the problem with Barcelona is not even only outside the pitch. Even on the pitch of play, they're having problems because they were at Alaves at the weekend, and they forced Alaves to a draw. If not that there was a mistake on the part of the Alaves defense, probably Barcelona would have lost that match. So they still have issues on the pitch of play, like we rightly pointed out. So that match ended 1-1. But then their big rivals in Spain, Real Madrid, seem to have gotten over their initial lackadaisical attitude or their initial setback, because Cadiz beat them 2-0. The following, about 4 days later, they lost to Shakhtar Donetsk. They were missing 9 players through coronavirus infection in the UEFA Champions League. But now, they've won their last 2 matches, and only on Saturday, they beat SD Huesca by 4-1. So Real Madrid 4, Huesca 1. Before I give you the other results in La Liga, contrasting fortunes for these 2 teams. So, like I said, what is Real Madrid doing? What is it about Real Madrid? Is it because there's more stability in the management, because Barcelona's management, you just know that their president resigned last week. So would it have to do with stability in management?
I think it has to do with stability in management and, the faith, the Real Madrid board they put in Zinedine Zidane. Just like every other team, Madrid is also, in the midst of all this financial, let me not call it financial crisis, but they also have their own fair share of the issue. So they did not sign any major player, and they put I think they placed trust on their players coming from the academic players coming from the under 23, and all that is beginning to pay off. And at this point in time, I believe Madrid will only get stronger.
Yes, indeed.
With time, as things begin to progress.
And one other team that is actually doing very well in La Liga this year is Real Sociedad. Only on yesterday they defeated Celta Vigo by 4-1. They topped the table with 16 points, and we thought that by now their early start would have fizzled out, and they would have gone back to where we know them to be, mid-table. But they are still there, up there, topping the table. And what does that tell you about some of these so-called smaller teams taking the bull by the horn in the face of the big teams like Barcelona doing badly, taking advantage of the situation?
That's to tell you what football is. I like the fact that we society are really, doing really well, especially in the La Liga. I like the fact that they are topping the table, and they are at the same time they are also in winning ways, which is a good thing for them. I just hope they continue that way. It has to do with probably their management and the way the team obviously keep following up in their winning ways, which is a good thing for them.
So we are talking the La Liga. So the results of the matches of La Liga last week shows that Real Madrid, like we said earlier, defeated Huesca by 4-1. Atletico Bilbao were 2-1 victors over Sevilla. Osasuna and Atletico Madrid won by 3-1. That match was actually live here on Grand Sport Extra on Grand Sport Football, and we had that match shown live on this station. So for those that didn't watch it, join us this weekend for another interesting La Liga action. This is where for your best La Liga action, this is where you get it. Atletico Madrid Osasuna was on live on this station on Saturday. Alaves played 1-1 with Barcelona. Real Betis beat Elche by 3-1. Celta Vigo lost at home to Real Sociedad 4-1. Granada played 1-1 with Levante, while Valencia and Getafe played 2-2. We go over straight to the English Premier League and some other interesting results in the English Premier League now. Away from the La Liga, we'll go to the English Premier League now. And the biggest result came from Old Trafford. Man United faltered at home once again. Blessing. Arsenal, Mikel Arteta has become the second manager in Arsenal history in recent times to have won at Old Trafford. And for you, is it about Arsenal getting better, or about Man United not being there at all?
Well, I feel Man United have not been there. Well, I feel there are probably issues, especially with Man United football team. One would wonder why they tend to be, they don't tend to be, consistent. They win this time around, they lose. They tend to lose.
They've been doing well in the Champions League, but it's the league that they've not been doing very bad. Doing well. Probably there's something about maybe they have different approaches to these two competitions. But then again, we saw Liverpool go back to the summit. It's a 2-1 win over West Ham, and Everton losing again to Newcastle 2-1, second loss in a row. Is it that the early season bubble has ended? Can we say that?
I believe at this point in time, the league is beginning to take its shape, the normal shape that we know. A lot of people have been saying it, it's just
Separating the
yeah,
shaft from the
separating the boys from the men.
Anyway, let's give you a rundown of the league results from the EPL over the weekend. Sheffield United lost at home to Man City 1-0. Burnley lost at home to Chelsea by 3-0. Liverpool beat West Ham 2-1. Aston Villa lost by 4-3 to Southampton. Newcastle United beat Everton by 2-1. Manchester United lost at home to Arsenal by 1-0, and Spurs beat Brighton by 2-1. And that's the much we can take on league review. We would have liked to talk about La Liga, even the German Bundesliga, but not much time. We'll just take the Super Eagles watch for today as we get to inform you or keep you posted on the performance of Nigerian players in Europe. Let's see how they performed over the weekend for their various clubs on Super Eagles Watch. We'll take that, and after the break, we'll come back for more on the program. Welcome to Super Eagles Watch as we keep you up to speed with the performance of Nigerian players across the globe. We'll start today from Belgium, where Paul Onuachi continued his impressive form in front of goal when he netted his 9th goal of the season in Genk's 4-0 thumping of Eupen on Friday night. His Nigerian compatriot Cyril Dessers was also among the goals as he scored his 2nd goal of the season. Both players who were omitted from the Super Eagles team to play Sierra Leone in the upcoming 2021 AFCON qualifiers led the attack for Genk. While Onuachu struck in the 5th minute from the penalty spot, Cyril Dessers doubled the lead as he scored in the 48th minute. Also in Belgium, Nigerian striker Paul Omo Mukairo scored the only goal of the match on his debut for Anderlecht as they pipped Royal Antwerp 1-0. The 20-year-old Nigerian, who joined Anderlecht on loan from Turkish club Antalyaspor at the end of the last transfer window, was introduced just after the hour mark by coach Vincent Kompany and duly delivered with a strike in the 74th minute to break the deadlock. In Spain, Kelechi Wakali started his first match for SD Huesca in La Liga, but was not able to prevent his side from going down 4-1 to Real Madrid. Things are beginning to look up for the former Golden England captain, who had not been in regular action for the newly promoted side until 2 weeks ago when he came in as a substitute. In the Spanish Segunda, Kenneth Omerua picked up an injury as Leganés pipped Mirandes 1-0 on Sunday. Omerua limped out of the pitch in the 49th minute and was replaced by Roberto Rosales. Worrying times for coach of the Super Eagles, Genetroa, you might say, especially given that Moses Simon also did not complete Nantes' match against Paris Saint-Germain at the weekend due to injury. Add this to the fact that Samuel Kalu is already out injured. The options available to Genetroa in the attack ahead of the 2021 AFCON qualifier against the Low Stars of Sierra Leone in 11 days' time is getting narrower. In Italy, Simi Nwankwo scored for Crotone in their 2-1 loss to Atlanta. The lanky Nigerian striker scored in the 41st minute to bring his tally for the season to 3 goals. In Russia, Dr. Moses' fairy tale start to life in the Russian Premier League came to an end on Saturday as Spartak Moscow lost 1-0 at home to FC Rostov. Moses, who has helped Spartak to record a draw and a win since arriving in Russia, got a different taste of the Russian league with a loss. He was substituted in the 80th minute. In England, Alex Iwobi was involved in the build-up play that led to Everton's goal as the Toffees suffered their 2nd loss in a row following their 2-1 loss away at Newcastle. The Super Eagles attacker, who entered the fray in the 77th minute, assisted in Dominic Calvert-Lewis' 90th minute goal that set up a grandstand finish to the match. In Holland, Super Eagles goalkeeper Maduka Okoye finally made his competitive debut in the Dutch Eredivisie for Sparta Rotterdam, but it would be one he would want to quickly forget as he conceded 4 goals in Sparta's 4-1 loss to Ereveen. The 21-year-old shotstopper joined Sparta Rotterdam from German club Fortuna Düsseldorf on free transfer at the beginning of the season and has made 4 appearances across all competitions for Sparta Rotterdam this season. That's it on Super Eagles Watch for today. We'll continue to keep you posted on the performance of Super Eagles players on this. The Grand Sports Center is still on, but we're just going to do our closing formalities because this is about all we have on the program for today. It's been a pleasure presenting this program this Monday morning, and we hope that you've had a nice time being with us. We expect to be with you again tomorrow, same time, same station, and as usual, we'll be looking forward to having you join us once again. I am Donald Agbavobo, and I want to thank Austin Arume for being part of the program.
It's always my pleasure to be here.
Blessing Basi for always being here.
Thank you.
On behalf of all of us and the entire production crew, we also want to use the opportunity to wish Wilfred, our audio man, happy birthday, celebrates today. I wish him many more years and more celebrations of this day in his life. Have yourself a very lovely day ahead.